Hello, everyone. Welcome to the KimUnity Soulutions Podcast, where we create conversations that empower and inspire those in the workplace and educational spaces that desire to improve their relationships and environments. How do we do that? We do that by sharing real life experiences, unraveling those challenges, and collectively producing unifying solutions. Welcome. It's so great to be back with you all today. So my question for you today is, what do you want? What is it that you're waiting for? What are you expecting? Have you communicated that? You see, sometimes we have expectations, but we haven't communicated it. So today's topic is uncommunicated expectations. Does that push a button for you? Uncommunicated expectations. Have you ever gotten upset or frustrated or angry because something didn't happen that you were expecting to happen? To you, maybe it was just common sense, but your expectations were completely ignored or avoided or disregarded or not even known. Not even known. This can cause some challenges, whether it's in the workplace, in your personal life, with your children, with your family, with other loved ones, with strangers, because everyone does not think like you. Everyone doesn't process information like you or go about their daily lives like you do. And so with these differences that are not communicated, it can cause friction. It can cause frustration because you or the person that you are with or around is expecting you to do something that hasn't been communicated. So now you're trying to figure out, why are they frustrated? Why is it not being done? Or maybe you thought you already said it. Can you relate? Has this ever happened to you? Or are you the one who is not communicating what you need, what you want, what you desire, what you expect? When I really pondered on this topic, I was going to call it unspoken expectations. But then when I really started to think about it, speaking is not the only way that we communicate. We do it by body language, nonverbal communication. So instead of it being unspoken, I chose uncommunicated. And I actually took this topic out to the public to see what their experience was with this subject. And they really couldn't comprehend. So I said, let me bring it back to my tribe. Let me bring it back to you all. I hope that you are commenting in the comment section below. Because again, what this podcast is about conversations. It's about finding common ground. It's about sharing our experiences. There's a quote by George Bernard Shaw. And his quote, he says, "The single biggest problem in communication is the illusion that it has taken place." That is a huge problem. Because there is an illusion that sometimes it has taken place. Sometimes it has taken place. Don't get it twisted. Whoever you are expecting from, you have probably already told them. But maybe it was misunderstood. Maybe it was the timing. Maybe it was how often you were expecting that thing. And what I'm speaking on, it occurs with everyone, whether it's your friends, whether it's in the workplace, your children, your house guests. So I will go ahead and give you some examples of what I was thinking about and what mind frame I was in when I was thinking of this topic. So with your coworkers, I just had someone tell me that, their coworker was going on vacation. And so they asked, hey, will you take on my workload while I'm gone? I've already completed a majority of it. I just need you to cover these few tasks right here. And of course they said yes, right? But when it was their turn, when it was the other person's turn to take vacation, they weren't taking on that responsibility, those tasks, as they did for them. You see, so there are uncommunicated expectations. Just because you do it for someone else doesn't mean they're going to do it in return. You can't expect them to do it in return. Was that request communicated? Are you expecting something that wasn't even on their mind? Maybe they had a lot going on. So it's little things like that that can cause a huge problem. And just like George Bernard Shaw said, is that the biggest problem in communication is the illusion that it's taking place. Family. Have you ever taken off of work, maybe just to relax or to just lay down, to regroup? But when your family sees you at home, they need you to rip and run from them. They need you to go to the grocery store. They're wondering what you're cooking. They have all these expectations, but no. And in this example, it's uncommunicated expectations on both sides. So you, the person who is staying home, not expecting to do anything or very little, it was never communicated to everybody else. You are expecting without communicating. And on the flip side of that, your family is thinking this is just another day where they can ask you. They're not considering what you already have on your plate or what you did not plan on doing for the day. Uncommunicated expectations. And you can see how that can cause a rift because everybody needs you. And you want to not be needed right now. Can you relate? What about with your manager? Have you ever, dug into your workload and worked all these long hours to complete a task, and you tried so hard to beat the deadline and you ended up coming in early before the deadline, but it did cost you hours and hours of your time outside of your normal workload and your work time? And this has happened to me. I will raise my hand and say it's happened to me. I have worked those long hours and then later said, okay, I need to leave early on this next day. So since I worked long on these other days, I'm going to take some of those hours back. I'm going to withdraw from that time account that I have put in. Many managers don't mind that, especially if you notify them in advance. But others are like, no, this is what it's expected of you. Yes, your job description says you may have to work longer hours. So that is what is expected of you. Do not try to take it out of any kind of account. You have no account. Uncommunicated expectations. And so going forward, what happens? What happens with that employee manager relationship? Okay, maybe that employee is not going to work as hard anymore. They may put in extra time, but they may not work as hard. They will remember what happened that prior time. So it's so important to be mindful. It's so important to be considerate. It's so important not to let your title get to your head. You want your employees to be happy. You want to be, and I'm not saying for anyone to take advantage of it, but do be considerate. Do be considerate. It's not difficult. And let me tell you, I'm not HR. So this is not the podcast to come to about HR because yes, HR stands for human resources, but I'm talking about human relations, the human experience. I'm not all about those rules and those the rules that are biased, that only benefit the company, the corporation. I'm talking about on a human level. So let's not get it confused what's going on here on this podcast. I'm speaking from my experience. So I am Kim the SME. SME stands for speaker of my experiences, because there's so many people out here. If you've been watching podcasts or watching YouTube or you're on Twitter, everyone's talking about everybody else's business. No, I'm telling you about mine. I'm telling you about my experience. So many people are so quick to speak on everybody else's lives and experiences that they have no knowledge of, but keep theirs in the dark. So again, this podcast is about sharing real experiences and what we can resolve in the workplace. It permeates beyond those office walls, beyond those school or educational spaces. We spend far too much time in the workplace to be unhappy. So this podcast is about resolving those issues by just making little tweaks. How you speak to someone, how you request information, how you treat people. When someone is sick, it's the little things. This is about the human experience. And right now we're talking about uncommunicated expectations. It will happen because why? No one can read your mind. Sometimes that expectation is not known until it actually happens. For example, let's talk about having house guests. Everyone lives different. I remember growing up and I would go over to my best friend's house and I would spend the night, right? So they say, here's your towels, go take a shower, this and that. So I go and I don't know where to put it. So I would throw it over the shower rod. I would fold it up real nice and neat because I'm very nice and neat, and I would put it over. And then I go back and I'm playing with my friend. Then all of a sudden her mom comes in and says, "Oh no, we don't do that here. I would like for you to put your towels here." Uncommunicated expectation is not out of disrespect, but it's because I had no idea what the expectation was. I didn't know their routine for guests. I didn't know. I didn't ask for another option. I didn't know there was another option, really, because I definitely wasn't going to put it over the towels that you don't touch. I wasn't going to put my towels over somebody else's towels. So where else would I put them? Maybe if you go over to somebody else's house, they expect you to take your shoes off at the door. It was never communicated, but you saw all those shoes at the door. And this is another reason why I did not name this podcast Unspoken Communication is Uncommunicated. If they were observant, they would have seen those shoes at the door and would have taken their shoes off, or they would have looked around and seen that nobody else had their shoes on. Uncommunicated expectations. And it's some of this is no harm, no foul, but I'm just bringing it to your attention that, you need to be mindful of what's going on. And when you're corrected, be open with the change. Oh, okay. I didn't know. Let me go back over here and take my shoes off. Okay. Yes, ma'am. I'm going to go put my towels right here where you'd like them. This is how we minimize friction. This is open communication. This is being direct. This is how you resolve issues, being direct and communicating instead of just hinting or talking. Ooh, they didn't take off their shoes. Ooh, they must not take shoes off at their house. You see? It's the little things. Now, when it comes to your children, what are some of those uncommunicated expectations? Maybe you just got your child a car, or they're coming home from college and they're thinking they can stay out till 4 or 5 o'clock in the morning, like how they were doing on their own. No, you have your own rules. You back at home now. Or just because you have a car doesn't mean you can come in and out at any time of the night. Or what about because they have a job now and they have their own money? They can go buy things and do things, and they expect punishments for that stuff to not be taken away. I mean, I'm just bringing out examples. Your children have expectations that have not been communicated to them, that is otherwise, and vice versa. So again, when that happens, you have to address it by having open communication and being open to what the other side has to say and coming to a resolution. You want it to be defined. Now, outside of people that you come into contact with day to day, right? I've talked about the employer and your coworker and your family and your children and even parents. I've spoken all about that. But what's another way that we are not communicating our expectations? What's another way? How about voting? We want so much to occur in our cities, in our counties, in our states, in our countries. Are you making it known? Are you communicating that? How? Are you voting? Are you going to your school board meetings? Why are you upset? Why are you upset and frustrated and angry and discontent if you haven't communicated what you expect, where you want your dollars to go, what laws you want changed, what laws you want implemented? So there's several reasons why we don't communicate, but we still have those expectations. One of them is you don't think change will come. You don't think they'll listen. You don't think your word means anything. Maybe you don't have the time, or you won't make time. Or maybe you think you're the only one that cares, or it only concerns you. But there's probably other people who are in the same boat, who have the same feelings, who want the same results. But until we go out and make it known and communicate what we expect, it will never change. And that goes for government, that goes for schools, that goes for your family, that goes for friends, that goes for your job. So again, this podcast and everything that I talk about, it addresses things in the workplace, but it also expands beyond those walls. I want positivity and unity and joy, basically, to spread throughout the world. It can happen, but it has to start with you. It has to start with me. We have to start it. We have to communicate it. This is my way of saying, hey, there's a problem. I'm working on it. Are you? This is my platform. I'm telling you what I expect. I'm telling you what I will tolerate and what I will not. And we need you to do the same. And it doesn't have to come from a negative space or out of anger. It's just being upfront and honest. So when you have a problem with management or your coworker doesn't reflect the same type of teamwork that you do, address it. Hey, I really need you to take on a few tasks for me while I'm out of town. I was able to do that for you. I'm hoping that you can return the favor. It's not difficult to have conversations, but sometimes we just rather be upset about it, upset that they didn't read our minds, upset of they don't know the urgency of it. Or reminded, maybe they weren't even reminded. Maybe they needed a reminder that, oh yeah, she is the one that took on my assignments for me. Or go to management. Hey, I worked 8 hours over these past 2 days. Friday, I have an appointment. I will be leaving early, but I'm already ahead of the game. You have to present it. And I'm really at the point where I just say that I need to be off. I don't really ask, because when you ask, it opens up the no. You can easily say it and they still say, no, that won't work. But see, I was upfront. I'm upfront during the hiring process. So they already know what they're getting. Some of you will have to reintroduce yourself to your workplace. Maybe what you accepted before, you're not willing to accept anymore. Maybe you have to go somewhere else where you're more appreciated. Or you will show them, your current employer, remind them how valuable you are. So I've talked about several reasons why we don't communicate. We don't think there's going to be any change. We don't think our voice is important. We don't think we'll be heard. We don't have time. What else is there? You don't want to cause any friction. You don't want to cause any friction. Or maybe you've said it so many times before that you expect them to know. For example, I'm an only child, and my responsibility at home growing up was to empty all the trash cans into the kitchen trash can. Like all the small trash cans into the big trash can so my dad could take it out to the street. I couldn't stand that responsibility. I could not stand taking the trash out. Even though it was just downstairs, I could not stand it. And not only that, my dad wanted it done every single day. It's like, there's only 3 of us in the house. There's only 3 of us. How about we all take our own trash out? Of course, that's a no-go. My children tried to play that game with the dishes. Like, I wasn't even home to eat. Okay, but you live here. You will put in. You don't pay rent. I'm not expecting you to pay rent, but you will contribute to this household. So I say all that to say that now as an adult, I still can't stand trash. I will bring it all to one big trash can, but I will not take it to the curb. I will not take it all outside. I will give that to somebody else. Am I going to communicate that every single time? No. It should be known by now. It should be known. Even the kids are like, Mom, why don't you take the trash can? I just don't do the trash. I can say that now. As a child, I couldn't say that, but I can say that now. Another form of uncommunicated expectations is hints. And that's something that I just cannot stand. Don't hint at something. Don't hint, don't talk around a subject. Don't portray it. Tell me exactly what you need, because I'll play along right with you. I can't get petty like that sometimes. I shouldn't. I understand. I know. But if you can't speak up, I'm not going to cater to that. I'm not going to come over here and try to pull the words out of your mouth. I do not like hints. Say it with your chest. Say it. But again, we're at a time where these new generations, they are easily fretful. They think that if you ask 2 questions in a row, you have an attitude. But really, you're trying to get down to the bottom of something. You're really inquiring. That's what inquiring is. To ask questions to get a better understanding. It's not because we have an attitude. We want to understand. Maybe your expectations are uncommunicated because you think you'll be ignored, or you are being ignored. Maybe you have communicated it, but you're ignored. Or maybe because this didn't happen, now you're not going to say anything about this next thing. Because this expectation wasn't met, you're just going to keep going on without asking. You want somebody to do the dishes, so you're just going to let them pile up. No, let's not do that. Let's not do that. Sometimes we don't communicate because we don't want to be denied. We don't want to be told no. We'd rather just keep those hopes and dreams and be frustrated along the way. How long will you wait? How long will you wait? How long will you be expecting? How long will you wait for someone else to do something? When will you take action? How long are you willing to go without? I'm not willing to go without too long. Not at all. Do you really want it? Whatever it is. My children, they're not children anymore, they're teens, but they tell me, Mom, you have all these long pauses in your conversations. I want you to think. I'm not here just trying to rattle off information or just to teach you something. I want you to think. It's about critical thought. It's about putting your own self in these situations. It's about listening to me and thinking, how can I apply this to my life? Does this fit my life? Can I relate to what Kim is saying? You should be thinking this to yourself. I wonder if that's why such and such is acting like that. Or that's why such and such will put this here and get upset because I haven't moved it. Put yourself in these circumstances. Be mindful of what's going on around you. If this is your first time tuning in, Kim stands for karma, intuition, mindfulness. These are the three elements that's needed to solve any issue. Karma. If what goes out comes back, treat people how you want to be treated. Put that out there until you're told otherwise. But that's the basis. And these three elements work regardless of race, religion, income, demographics, geography, age, gender, income. Intuition. What is your gut telling you? Where are you being guided to? Where are you being steered away from? Are you going to go against that? There's a reason that you feel that way. There's a reason that when you get next to this person, you don't feel right. Or this agreement that you're about to sign doesn't feel right. Use your intuition. And then mindfulness, understanding that we all have different lived and unlived experiences. We all grew up differently, one way or another. So be more understanding. Show empathy, show mercy, show grace. Try to get understanding. Open up the lines of communication so you can understand, okay, you said this is way out there, but let me find out why you say that. Oh, okay, that's stemming from this right here. It's about being mindful. It's not about agreeing with everyone, but it's about leaving room for grace and understanding. And that's how we achieve unity. These small and everyday decisions is what will make this world a much better place. I hope you all have enjoyed this message today. I hope you all have heard something, learned something, will apply something, will inquire with others around you. Hey, I remember that time that you said this. Is this what you want? What were you referring to when you said this? And for others, you need to really open your mouth and clearly communicate what you expect, what you want, what you need, what you desire, what you require. And then determine how long are you going to wait? How long are you going to wait? I am Kim the SME. As always, I am only speaking from my experience. I hope you tune in next week for our next episode. Check out our website to buy merchandise at KimUnity Soulutions, Soulutions. People ask Kim, why is it Soulutions, as in your soul? And the answer is because most solutions don't have souls in mind. They're one-sided. They only benefit one party. And this podcast and everything that I speak about is about providing solutions with souls in mind that positively impact everyone involved. It's not a one wins and the other one is to their detriment. We need solutions. I'm about solutions. Are you? Again, the website is www.KimUnitySolutions.com. And this podcast is streaming on all major platforms. Tune in, and I can't wait to speak with you all next week. Drop your comments below. Y'all have a blessed one. Bye.